Evening and welcome to Jason Prophecy on FM 107.7 New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. Remember to like us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. I'm Jenny Nicasio along with Sean Kelly and Jason I. Petro. Happy Thursday, everyone.
Hey, happy Thursday.
Hey, happy Thursday.
Good to see you're all with us today. That's good because we have a lot to talk about. And might as well just get started because we only have an hour. So I don't know if you guys knew anything about the MK Ultra. I know I sent you some information on that. Did you get a chance to watch any of those videos or YouTube or do some research?
Yes, I did some research and I did watch some of them YouTube things.
Good.
Quite amazing.
Yeah, so for the people that don't know what this is, and I didn't know about it until my son told me about it, MK Ultra was a top secret CIA project in which the agency conducted human experiments on hundreds of people, and some of them without them even knowing it was happening. Sometimes in the United States, citizens went to the doctors, like if they were having postpartum depression, any kind of depression, they went to get some help. And what they did, we found out that some of these drugs that they used were like, was that alter mind control, like, and
LSD.
hallucinate, LSD. And there's a couple different ones. And it's really scary because it was almost like psychological torture to these people. And a lot of them didn't even know about it. And this went back as far as I think the earliest was in the 40s. Sean, am I correct on that? Did it start in the 40s?
No, it actually started in 1953.
1953 until what? About 1973. Is that right?
1973, yeah. In fact, the day of it was April 13th, 1953.
Oh, wow. You remember that date. I hear a doggy in the background. I wonder who that is. But I know that the 1973, it was non-classified, but now they're all classified. So you can't even find out, because the more I researched this and I went back and I found out that there was movies like The Mandarin Candidate. Is that it? And there was conspiracy theory and even Stranger Things. They use the mind control stuff, which is really scary stuff. And when I Googled the MK Ultra, I don't know about you guys, when I Googled it on YouTube, it brought up the shooter in 2017, Espinito. Is that how you say his name? He was a San Diego, from one of those military bases. It went into, he shot some people, but he went, I don't know if you knew that, but he went to the authorities a few days before that and said that the government was using like some kind of mind thing on them. And he believes that that's why he went and shot those people. Now, I don't know if that's correct or not.
I don't think so. I don't.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe, because you never know, because you know what, Jason, you don't know what they're doing to us, especially some of them. They're doing some really crazy. There was a Dr. Jose. Did you see that one about Dr. Jose Louis Julian West? He wanted to put a chip or a electrode in everyone's brain so he can control them from a satellite.
You know, I was seeing something about something like that where they were experimenting on animals like dogs. Yeah. And working on controlling them to make them run, turn, and stop, all with like a remote control. So that's some pretty freaky stuff.
Yeah, he even put one in was it a bull? And he was telling it to turn around and stuff. That's really weird.
Yeah, really mad. I wonder, what are they doing?
Well, I don't know. There's the Aurora movie theater or was that Colorado? The shooter that went into the movie theater during a Batman movie.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. They said he was too. He said that one of his defenses, I know he's in prison somewhere. He said that the government made him do it.
But I mean, to me, that's one hell of an excuse to like blame it on somebody else, knowing that, you did it.
Well, yeah, but you have to think about it. All the stuff that they show us on commercials, all this propaganda, they're using fear as a mind control, fearing us that we're scared to death to go out into the park without a mask on. I mean, all this stuff is propaganda. This is all mind control. And it went back as far as, like you said, the 1950s, the 1960s, and the height of the Cold War, when they believed that they wanted to do, because they believed the Russians were using it. And so they
North
wanted
Korea.
to, and the CIA wanted to get a jump on it. And that's when they started to use these doctors. And they got these mind controlling drugs that they used. I mean, some of it's scary as hell. I mean, that they actually did this, and they're probably still doing it.
Oh, probably.
Of course.
I think they were using a lot of those drugs and stuff to get information out of people as well. The folks that wouldn't talk or were captured,
the prisoners.
They'd get them all hopped up on these hallucinogens, and then that's one way to get information out of them, and
but these people were scared. I mean, and they let them do it. That's what cracks. Like, there was one woman that she was having postpartum depression, and she went to this doctor because this Dr. Carmen was supposed to be so, I guess, respected, but it turns out he was a real ass. So he was supposed to be a real. He was like Dr. Jekyll. He was trying to make Dr. Jekylls out of people. Ooh. That's what he was trying to do, using hypnosis, LSD, chemicals. They even called it a biological, what was it, sleep deprivation? Well, they really wasn't deprivation. It was what they called it, where they would put you to sleep for like 30 days. And I think one went as far as 60 days. Okay. And then what they would do, did you read that, where they would shock them over and over?
Yep, absolutely. And I don't know, I also was doing a little research on that too, and then they were saying they also sexually abused them. Now, I don't know how true that could be.
I don't know if you want to call it abuse, but they did it for the homosexuals, that they would show them, this was really bizarre. They would show them erotic pictures, but then they would use these electrodes on their brain, it would give them this intense orgasm. And they would keep, one guy kept on doing, I think he had like 40 at once.
Oh my goodness.
But they were trying to make them not gay. And that's a true therapy that they did. And I mean, I remember watching a lot of movies that they did that. They would try to change them from being gay to being heterosexual. It's kind of crazy.
I wouldn't have thought that.
If you look back, long time ago, a lot of common medicines had drugs in them. Like, cough syrups were known to have cocaine and stuff in them. You go to the doctor for a headache or this or that, and they'd be like, here, take some of this. Or when Coca-Cola.
That's the Coca-Cola actually had cocaine in it, they said at one time.
Back in the day, people needed to pick me up, or, they're suffering from something. Here, have some of this.
They might still have it, because I think I get addicted to Diet Zero, Coke Zero.
Oh, Coke Zero. No. That's the best.
I know, but you have it with a little bit of rum. Oh man,
that's gross.
That is my go-to drink.
Cracking rum with cherry Coke Zero.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh.
Sorry, we're talking alcohol with you. Sorry about that.
No. I'm talking about the Coke Zero.
Oh, it's delicious. What are you talking about,
Jenny?
No, that's great.
Pap doesn't know what he's missing. He doesn't know.
Oh my God. Oh.
I tried one of them one time, and I tell you what, I had an aftertaste in my mouth for 2 days, and I was like, nah.
Well, that's because it was stuck in your mustache, and you were still tasting it.
Well, getting back to the program for there was one program, they had 150 human experiments involving the drugs, and then there was also the drugs with the electrotherapy. Now, could you imagine I know they used the electric shock therapy for depression, but they were using it to completely wipe out your memory.
That's shocking.
That is crazy. And I can see them doing it now for these people who go around and shoot people, and then they go and do these crazy things. I mean, they totally wipe your memory out, and then they use a code word like light. Was it Oklahoma. The moon is full or something? And then they only need is that word.
And then I know there was a couple movies that was set off like that. But, I was thinking, as I was doing my research, all this crap happened in 1953. Isn't that when Area 51 kicked in?
That was 1947. It's about the same time as Project Blue Book, yes. And I think that they were even, well, you know what? Even these people that see these saucers now, maybe they're getting some kind of mind control thing going on, because these pilots, and I know there was an episode on the X-Files, I can't remember the name of it, but it was Vince Gilligan. He wrote this episode himself. There was mind control with the Area 50, 54, 51. Now there is an Area 54. I have to tell you about that one too, but there is. I found that out when I was doing my research for my book. But I believe if these pilots, they say they see these UFOs, and then the government, that, oh no, you didn't see it. I think they used that in Project Blue Book. They actually used that I don't know if you ever watched the series on the History Channel. They actually used this type of given this kind of mind erasing clean slate thing to these pilots.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? Well, think about it, right? The Japanese were really big into this mind control thing. Look what they did to the kamikazes, where they just put stuff into their brain, and them boys would just take their planes and go into ships like they were going to die.
Yeah, and half of them don't even know why they did it.
Exactly.
When they used that mind controlling thing, where they deleted everything, and then they reprogrammed the brain with that code word, the person didn't even know. All they had to do it's like this. It was Sean 1 and Sean 2. And Sean 1 had no idea that he was doing these things. Sean 2 came into the picture, and all they had to use was a code word to get that Sean 1 back in. So he never knew. He had no recollection what he did when he was Sean 2. Do you understand? It's really it's really creepy stuff that they did. I mean, I could sit and watch. Oh my God, I was watching like one after the other, and I was getting. This is really giving me. It's going to give me nightmares tonight. Some of the stuff that they did. How about this is a sort of a mind control too, when they did that experiment with the black men. And what was that year?
Oh, was that nuts? The
1932,
right?
Yeah, 1932 to 1972. They weren't prisoners. Were they prisoners? It's called the Tuskegee. How do you pronounce that?
Oh, Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, they were. There was a lot of them. And they did it for 40 years, and they gave them syphilis.
Oh, geez.
And they the thing that killed me when I was listening to this, that they actually let them procreate, have children, and these kids are born with all kind of problems because they had syphilis. And they let this go on for like 40 years, and they had a cure for syphilis, and they tortured these men. And I know that Bill Clinton actually apologized for all this. And the thing is, I hope that these men got some kind of a retribution, some kind of a payment or something that actually went into their children's, because that was horrible that they did that. It's just it blows my mind.
When I went, it's crazy when you're talking about the military. When I would go like through boot camp, to say, I got a series of shots. I think I got like 20, 25 shots. And they never told us what the shots were for.
And you let them do that?
I had to. I was part of
there's
the
no
federal
way.
government.
I would. There's no way.
It was part of the federal government.
Oh, they were doing some kind of experiment on you.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
Getting back, I know this will probably get yelled at because you're not supposed to talk about COVID and on the air anymore. It seems like you can't talk. We lost our freedom of speech. But with the COVID vaccine, okay, I know there's gentlemen out there that got the vaccine. Mm-hmm. That's your prerogative. But why would you get a vaccine that's not approved? It's approved for use. Authorized. It's not approved. It's authorized for use in emergency situations. This drug is just like this stuff that they were doing, experiments, guinea pigs. They're experimental. We don't know what they're going to have, what kind of lasting effect it's going to have on us, what it's going to do to our DNA. I know that's the big thing that conspiracy enthusiasts talk about, but you don't know. And what kills me is it's all over the news. Like if you listen to the conservative news, I don't think it's on. There's a few Democratic channels that it's on, more left, that's people who had COVID are getting the vaccine when you already have the antibodies in your system. And if this is just like a regular coronavirus, once you have the antibodies, they're for life. And they try to tell you, oh, no, because there's SARS, so-and-so. SARS has been around forever. I mean, I don't know. That's what I mean by propaganda. That's how they're getting people. That's propaganda. They keep putting in, get your vaccine, no matter what, you're going to save lives. But just like these experimental drugs that they used on for centuries, just like that you got in the military, we don't know what's in them. Right. And that's what's scary, because the government, the CIA is a government, agency, that they did this to these poor men and women, and the CIA dosed the men with LSD, and then some of them were out having cocktails, and then they had a two-way mirror, and they're watching their behavior to see how they reacted, and they recorded them, and then they even did it with prostitutes, like you said, with sex. They did it with the prostitutes, and they it was it's just outrageous, and they had these electrical thing like disguises, and what was that called? Do you remember? Was it called the midnight climax? I think experiment, and that makes Jason's laugh. That makes a lot of sense. It's like, God, it just seems like that they did all this stuff, and it just blows my mind. And going back to the mind control, I remember growing up in the 70s. Was it the 70s when I'm really dating myself, when Patty Hearst
oh yeah 70s. Yes, they were the best, buddy.
That was mind control. She went in there thinking she was this woman named Tanya, and she went and she robbed that bank, and they abused her. They raped her in the closet. They drugged her up with LSD, and they did the same thing that they did to these CIA doctors did to these people. And that's how they controlled her, that she was able to go into the bank and do that. And that's just one of the things. And there's the Oswald. There was a guy before Oswald. His name was Jack Ruby.
Yeah.
You remember that? That's another thing that could have been
of course,
mind control. And because then you have go ahead.
I don't think Jack Ruby knew or understood what he did, to be honest.
Well, that's because they were doing the mind control thing to him. They probably did that, either one of those experiments that they did with the sleep deprivation, and then there was the one where they actually raced their brain. I want to know the correct terminology for that. I wrote it down, and of course I am so bad with remembering stuff. I think it's the aging process.
What about like the mind control and everything of like cult leaders such as like Charles Manson and David Koresh?
Yeah, exactly. In the bomber.
A whole different, like David Koresh, like those people,
that's
they
mind
left
control
at any time, but they were sucked in to staying there in Waco.
Exactly.
Like, how did he do that? Without
he used religion. That's another way that there's mind control. They're using religion. Yes.
And he used vulnerability too, because his followers were like down on their luck. They were homeless. They didn't think they were worth anything. He brought them in, made them feel good about themselves, and when he had them, boom, he just put the leash on them, and that's what happened. Exactly what happened.
Like, you got it.
Charles Manson, he had those people so brainwashed.
But what was he using, Jason? He was using the LSD.
Yeah. He was using drugs. Yeah.
He was using the drugs to do it. It's this mind-altering drugs, and they still do it. And what cracks me up is, it doesn't crack me up, but when we get back to the mind doing this abuse, the same, in the church scandal with the priests, they did the same thing. They got, like you said, Sean, those kids that were probably from a broken home, they were down on their luck, they were vulnerable, and they used that to their, what do you call it? Their advantage to do their dirty deed by, grabbing them. They took the weakest and they groomed them. And same thing. That's what they do all the time with these mind control. And a lot of these, what do you call it? I don't know about the serial killers, but a lot of these cults, they use that. And like Jason said about was it Waco?
Waco's, yeah.
Waco.
Correct, yeah.
But, when I was looking at that and I was watching some YouTube videos, there's a hell of a lot of other people after they're whacked out. I think it's called the Ant Hill Gang, ANTHILL.
Never heard of that one. Tell us about that one.
It was the same thing, more than likely like Manson, and he, this guy just continually sexually abusing and making other people in the cult to hurt each other. It got really creepy. I'm being honest with you on this. It got really creepy. I had to shut it off because I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that gets these mind control and the experiments that the government. I don't like that stuff because I believe that they can still do it today, and I think they do. A lot of them, even when we were talking about the Dulce, the underground bunkers and stuff. The one guy he killed himself.
Right.
Because you're dealing with the government, and the government's not your friend. And I don't care. Getting back to last night's State of the Union, they're saying the government wants to help. The government does not want to help you.
They
are not your friends, and these people are so blind to it that they think that they are. It just baffles my mind, and it scares me because it's just insane that they even think that.
Right.
I don't trust the government for nothing. If I disappear, guys, you know who took me.
Not a problem.
If I disappeared tonight, you know where I'm at.
Find your backpack down the street.
Yeah.
Shoot behind the tree somewhere.
If I suddenly disappear, it's because they came for me. I don't believe.
You know what, Jenny? We had a couple shows where I swear, especially the one from something about England. It was about the British, and I seriously was waiting for Britain or whoever to come in and take me away. I swear to God, some of our shows we had. I forget which one it was, but I was like, wow.
I don't know.
It was something.
They're coming to take me away. Ha ha.
They're coming to take me away. Ha ha.
Yeah.
If any listeners out there want to call in, if you have a comment or question, or do you know something that we don't know, I would love to hear from you. You just give us a call at 724-935-6849. Again, that's 724-935-6849. We want to hear your question, comment.
Well, we did get some comments from, looks like potential spammers. Want to become famous? Buy followers and viewers.
Where's that? I don't see anything.
In the comment section. And hi, Albert.
I don't even know how to do that comment.
Tell Albert hi.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. For God's sake, my mouse don't work. Oh, well, can't see that.
It's the government controlling your mouse.
I think it is. I think... I won't be surprised. I mean, when I was writing From the Sky, and I was doing a lot about the Area 51 and the Dulce for 3, I swear there was weird shit happening to me because it's just too weird. Some of the things that would happen, like today when I'm doing this research, I get 2 calls from Russia. I'm like, okay,
Huh.
They wanted to sell you some vodka.
I don't know. I was tempted to answer it because I was just curious. Like, what was it? Who?
Answer like Pizza Hut or Domino's.
Well, I thought, maybe then I get a virus. So, I didn't want to do that. But getting back to the
syphilis or the phone.
Syphilis. Let's see. Okay, I have what they do to you. I have the names. Psychic driving is one of them. And what that does, it changes the de-patterns your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, breaking up the patterns of behavior that you used to have, giving you new ones. And then the sleep one was 30 days. They actually went as far as 65 days. and they kept the person asleep. But I think there was 6 times a night, they would give them the most powerful electric shock to their brain. And then they would say, okay.
Stop shocking.
You will not be Sean Kelly anymore. You will be Jason. And they erased memories with electric shock. They wiped out all your memories, gave you new memories. That's how some people think, well, no, my new name isn't in my Jen is not. My old Jen she spoke Japanese.
It's like Men in Black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would like, there's a couple different movies out there. I should find out what I wrote them down. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I was wondering, speaking of Men in Black, could we get a show on just Men in Black? That would be interesting.
Sure.
They do exist. That's from what I understand.
Well, maybe you know anyone that they would like to be on the show?
Will Smith.
We'll find somebody. Who's that?
Will Smith.
Will Smith. No, I'll find something. I mean, I don't know. It's just like a lot of our shows are based on aliens. And when I do the research on UFOs and aliens, you know, the black, what do we say they were called?
They were Men in Black. And
Men in Black, always around. And
well, they are. And they are always present when there's something extraterrestrial is going on. And in my book, From the Sky, I have Men in Black. Now, she didn't like that term, so they named it the No Whites. And I said to her, the No Whites? That sounds racist to me. Okay. So I don't know if they're going to go back to the Men in Black. And the Men in Black in my book, they weren't like the typical with the hat. They were completely bald, and they had like all these tattoos on their bald head, and they had like all these different codes on, like their bodies were maps of where they lived in the universe. And so there would be all these. But they didn't have any whites to their eyes. That's why they called them the No Whites.
Huh.
And I just wanted to do a real shout out to everybody who purchased my book, made From the Sky #1 in the young adult. So thank you so much. And Kindle.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys for purchasing the book. So I just wanted to say hello and thank you. Mm-hmm. Let's make it #1 all the time. But the aliens are like, I think, well, getting back to the aliens, I think they do mind control. I think that they can hypnotize you. So they're using some kind of like MK Ultra. And I believe now, just like we were talking last week, that the government made a deal with these aliens, and that's where they got these techniques. And maybe that's where they got the LSD from.
But who knows? Maybe. I mean,
I've always wanted to try hypnosis. Just out of like curiosity, like what is it like to be hypnotized?
Well, I've been hypnotized, but half the time I don't think they know what they're doing, and it doesn't work. You'd have to go to
getting sleepy.
You would have to go and look at this and don't move. Keep looking.
I tell you what is creepy is psychodrama. Psychodrama.
What's that?
It's where they put you in the seat in the middle of a room, and you have, say, like you're having a problem with your spouse, and what they do is they flash these red, green, and yellow lights at you.
Yeah, they were talking about that in the documentary too. That's a part of it.
And it's called psychodrama, and it gets to the point where you're actually talking to your wife, and she's not there. I mean, that's creepy. I went through a couple of those. When I was in rehab. Yeah, I did.
They did that.
I was in rehab.
Mm-hmm. Did it help you?
No. But,
you have nightmares from it?
Now you're colorblind.
No nightmares. No, but what was scary because they filmed every session of it, and I just watched
files.
You were probably terrorized.
I was, man.
That's torture.
When
they do that. Everything. Well, they were showing these people on the LSD. They were like terrified because one guy said, I keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller so I didn't exist anymore. And the one woman said that she was being reborn. She felt like she was being reborn, and she didn't.
That's crazy.
There was a leaf room. Like the one woman was put into a leaf room, and they give you LSD, and that's just not right that they did this to these people. Jason, they used Eli Lilly was the one who was the big manufacturer of the LSD, then I want to know who did. They did this one thing. The pharmaceutical company did. They put LSD or something like it in their inhaler, their asthma inhaler. And these people didn't know that they were doing that. Could you imagine you're blowing, you can't breathe, and then you do this, and then all of a sudden you're tripping? I'm surprised people didn't go crashing out their window.
Yeah, that's definitely different. Now I know, there's been several times where my doctors have switched inhalers to something else, different brand, and there's a couple times, the first couple times you use that inhaler, you get all wound up. It was weird. I remember I was like, my heart was racing.
Yeah, they said that's what it does, doesn't it? It opens up your bronchial tubes. Wouldn't that make your heart race?
Well, I usually don't have any problems, but it always seems to be when they switch me to like a whole different maker, different brand.
That's not good.
For a couple days.
I wouldn't like that. That would give me a panic attack, and then my heart would race more.
It's a different experience, I'm sure it doesn't happen to everybody, but over the years I've noticed it.
Is that the same as going into the hospital and they give you is it oxygen they give you, and sometimes or something like oxygen?
Are you talking about nebulizer?
Yeah, and it makes your heart race too.
Yeah, that does too. Yep.
I don't like that.
Nebulizer just in case.
And, I don't like that. I'd pass out.
Afterwards, you can breathe, so you're happy. You're like, I can breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for how long? How do you know? Then here's the question. What's in that nebulizer?
Yeah. How do you know what's in it?
Yes.
Read the label on the medication. It's albuterol sulfate.
Well, I'm just like some of these pharmaceutical companies. I don't believe half of them. Especially the ones that are made in China. Like, how do you know they're not putting something in it to try to get rid of us? They don't like us.
Yeah.
And then they were talking about biochemical warfare, germ warfare. Like, wasn't that COVID?
Yeah, right.
Really? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know about that. But it just baffled me that there was like so many people that they sued the CIA, and I don't even know if they got any money from it.
I think some people did.
Did they get money from it?
Some did, not all. Mm-mm.
Then they said this is how they ended the one documentary. Like, how do you know? You can't prove it. Okay? You can't prove that it's happening. You can't prove it. How are you going to stop it? This is what he said to do. And this is for everything out there. Think, okay, even with the virus and the vaccine, think critically about it. Think critically. Don't listen to all the media, listen to the president. You think critically. Do research. Research. And don't buy into everything you see on the television, on the radio. And don't buy everything you see out there, especially with these new phones that they're, throwing out there with T-Mobile and all of them. If you join now, we'll set you up with the new 5G. How do you?
I thought Facebook had all the answers.
Well, how do you know that this 5G isn't connected to something that we've taken, swallowed? You know what I'm saying? Had injected into us. You don't know what's going to happen.
5G sucks.
And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am a conspiracy enthusiast, meaning I enjoy listening to stuff like that. But I don't go out and say, I believe in putting a metal. I did do that, though, for shits and giggles. When Signs came out, I did put the silver cap on my head, the aluminum foil cap. We all did for shits and giggles for fun. My kids and my mom, just for fun. While we watched the movie, I thought it was fun. No, you don't know. And that's why everything you got to do your research and always research and think critically about everything. Don't buy into everything you see on the TV or hear from a radio show or that's just like us people out there. Don't go thinking that I'm telling you that these government agencies are putting electrodes while you're sleeping, but you never know. When you're sleeping, or some alien is working with the government. They are. The aliens are working.
The thing is, don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see.
Exactly. And always make sure you have your eyes open, especially at the gas tank. I always say that young women, always when you're pumping gas, do not turn your back. Always keep your eyes
on gas everywhere.
No, young women should always be, that's the perfect opportunity for someone to grab you, throw them in your car, and take off in your car with a full tank of gas. Always stand facing out when you're pumping your gas, pump it and look out. You don't know who's by you. Someone could be watching you. Have your eyes open and have your ears and listen, because there's a lot of creeps out there and you don't know. And, I'll tell you this. This is really cool. A show that I've been watching on NBC. I have that Peacock that you can go back and rewatch shows that you have missed. Well, there's one called Debris. It is so awesome. And it's dealing with a debris from a UFO. And they have all these, powers and phenomena, connected to this debris. And that is such a cool show. And then I started thinking about, when I was watching it, it brought me up to the missing 411. See, my mind goes in 50 different directions. That's called a writer's mind. Okay. You're thinking, you're watching, I'm doing the show, but in the back of my head, there's a file folder open for missing 411. On the other file folder, on the other side, in the background is debris going on at once. That's how my mind works.
Oh, wow.
So when I'm thinking about debris, I come up with I listened to David Pollitt's recent episode on Missing 411, the Canaan Project, and he was talking about this woman. They found a young woman. She just had baby, so her baby was a newborn. They found her body off the highway. They found her body or her clothes. I can't remember which one. I think it was her body. Her clothes was off and the baby. So it took me back to debris, about how these things are happening, and the bodies are this debris that's from the outer space is affecting people. And this is exactly like what happened on debris, about these bodies that were floating off the ground. This thing, whatever it was, did something to the gravity. So they were like floating. And it was just so weird how they all connected that day. It's like, oh my God, this is so cool. I mean, this is just like what David was talking about, and and all this weird stuff that's going on. But you guys got to check it out. It's free on Peacock. I'm not promoting it. I'm not they're not my sponsor. Okay. It's really good. It's called Debris, and I went on I recorded the most recent ones.
How would you like to be able to float, Jenny?
What? Oh, I float all the time.
I'd like to float.
No, seriously. Jerry, do you really float all the time in your bed?
No.
No, seriously. When I was a teenager, I did. I remember. I used to. LSD? No, I remember when I was a teenager, I used to have night terrors, and I would have these lucid dreams or just weird dreams. And I remember being high off the ground, looking like I could feel myself floating up to the ceiling. And that went on for, I could do that all the time.
That could have been an out-of-body experiencer.
Probably.
Maybe it was astral projection.
Yes, that too.
Probably. I did a lot of, that's the same time that I was having those shadow people coming into my room when I was a kid, teenager. They would come in. They were like scariest. They were so scary that you just saw the dark figure, but they looked like those aliens with the big eyes. They looked like that. And this is before
science was
real.
On
this topic. This is before we even talked or had movies about aliens. I didn't even know about aliens back then. How we got on this topic, I don't know. I guess my mind started to float away. Or one of my
you're being mind controlled, Jenny.
Maybe.
Yeah,
being mind controlled.
The government.
No, could be. Just like that time I lost time. When we were on Beacon of Light, I lost time. I'm not kidding you. I lost time.
Yes.
That was the freakiest thing. My son even lost time too that day.
Yes, I remember that. Now, remember how your mouse was acting up?
Yes.
Okay. That's when you started to go to different places in your mind.
You're right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I totally lost my compukta, whatever you want to call it. totally. My kids are going to say, "My God, Mom, what were you doing on this show?" My kids say that. My ex-husband watches too. Actually, he's going to be a co-host on the show in the summer, guys. Thought I'd warn you.
Okay.
So
that'll be good.
Yeah, he's into all this stuff. He's actually the one that told me about MK Ultra with my son. Yeah, because they're into all that stuff. Back to the alien thing. No, I really do think that something happened in my room when I was a kid. Because my son we were going back to the sleep paralysis. He was having the same stuff happen to him. We got to have him back on the show. What was his name?
Cool.
Brian Sharpless.
Oh yeah.
We should have him on the anniversary show because he was on it twice. Jason has to meet him. He was pretty cool. He's a psychologist. He's pretty cool.
Yeah. Has a crush on Jenny.
He debunks us all. He thinks we're all nuts.
He also has a crush on Jenny too.
No, he doesn't. He's married.
Oh, okay.
Jeez. And he's like 20 years younger than me. I know I like younger guys, but come on. It's like dating my son. Yeah. So getting back to the MK Ultra, I just think they're still doing it now, and I think it was sickening how they did this to these men. And the movies that you got to watch. There's a couple movies out there that actually Born Identity. Isn't that one of them? With
the Jason Bourne
movies. Yeah. And then there's Stranger Things. I never even thought of mind control in that one. But then there's the Mandalorian candidate. Is that
Manchurian?
Manchurian.
Yeah.
Candidate. I'm gonna do that because they were making the super soldier, and they wanted to be able to do all that. I can totally see that happening. What if you were in a relationship with Bob 1, and then Bob 2 came out? He didn't know who you were.
I wouldn't be in a relationship with Bob.
Or Jackie, Jackie 1 or Jackie 2. No, you're in a relationship with this person, and all of a sudden, they don't know who you are, and then they use the code word, like they'll get a phone call. What do you call it?
Oklahoma.
They'll say the dark side of the moon, and you're back to Bob 1, no longer Bob 2. Yeah. So they go, Bob 1, I want you to go rob that bank down there and take all the money. And then after you rob the bank and you give the money to the person, okay, dark side of the moon. And you're back to just like, what the hell am I doing with this money? Why am I in jail? I have no idea why I'm in jail. Okay. No, I can see that because you can see a murder situation that the guy doesn't know he did it, but they used this code word because they did this brain pattern, wiped out his brain, some kind of goofy mind altering MK Ultra thing. And then he's in prison and he's totally confused. This is a good story. I'm going to have to write this. The guy's in prison or in jail. He's in the interrogation room. And I don't know. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I did not do it. Yes, you do. We have your fingerprints. But it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But could you see that happening?
Yeah, with me. That's how my luck is. There'd be a Sean too, and I get, blamed for everything. I'd be in jail.
Well, we have like 5 minutes, so I want to hear about what's going on with you guys with your ghost investigations. I haven't heard anything. I know I seen you at one of the deaf ones with the group that they're hearing impaired, and you went out and did something. You went to that grave. What is that? Blue Mist.
Grove Cemetery.
Was it Grove Cemetery?
Yeah.
So how'd that go?
Blue Mist. I was. You know what? I was there for about an hour and 10 minutes. I just wanted to make sure no one was at each other's throats and that everybody got along, and they all got along. And so I came back. But I don't know. My deal is with all of that is to unite the deaf community with the hearing community. I believe that people should have the opportunity, all people, even blind people, should have the opportunity to do something that I do, and
that's awesome.
And then, thank you. And instead of like fighting this and like no, you can't do this because this and that. I don't believe that. I believe everybody should have a chance, and that's how I deal with it.
That's good.
Well said,
Thank you.
Pat. Well said.
Yes, it is. Applaud.
Thank you.
So is there anything coming up? Any kind of ghost hunts, you guys? Jason, you have anything under your back pocket or something that's going on?
I posted up that video from the.
That was really I like that.
That was cool.
That was our first investigation with the BSGA team, the Black Silent Ghost Adventure team.
That was really. I liked how you did that. It was very professional. I liked it. I posted it on It's very good.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it was very good.
Hopefully, I'm trying some new things with film editing and everything of that nature. So hopefully some bigger investigations in the future, I'll be able to just, make, 10, 15-minute movies out of them.
That's all. That's really good. I think that would
be great. He does a good job.
I know. He does. He did really good. I really
even your first one, the Bel Air House, that was awesome. Yeah, that was good.
Very good. So you have anything going on? Any investigations coming up?
Just Blue Mist.
There's a lot in planning too that we have. We got to sort out some things. There's some private ones probably in the near future. We're planning on Gettysburg in I think September. We're looking around at some of the bigger, more famous places. I think there's a couple in Ohio. We don't mind doing some traveling. We're just trying to pick and choose right now. See what's best fit for everybody, and because it's all about having a good time and getting answers and learning more about the other side.
Yeah.
But what I like the most when we go to these like big places is the history behind the building and the history and the land. I mean, I find it so interesting. Like down in Whitefield, Virginia, I did not know until I got down there that there was actually a Civil War battle fought there. So, and I learned a lot about the Civil War era. When I went through that town, driving through, it really did have a very eerie feeling to it. It was just like, really eerie. It was like, who's watching me? Or, and you went down this one street and they actually had the houses back in the 1863s like they do up in Gettysburg. And it was just a creepy feel. But I learned a lot, and to me, that sometimes is better than going on the ghost hunt.
Yeah, it is.
The collection of Civil War memorabilia that the owners of this place had was just outstanding. There was not like one missed inch on a wall or anything. Mm-mm. Like they had this place full from top to bottom, with just all kinds of information, statues, pictures. Like Sean said, it was a huge history lesson, which was really cool. And then, getting to investigate it was even better,
Right, exactly. But you know what you would like down there, Jenny, and I think you would like this. They put on a thing called Dinner with a Ghost. It's really cool.
Yeah.
No, really, they do.
I don't know if I want to have dinner with the ghost.
I mean,
well, I did like the Ghost of Mrs. Muir. I know I like to have a captain ghost to come and keep me company. I have a thing for sailors.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I would. I don't know if I want to have ghosts with a dinner.
Hey, I'm waiting on you. I'm going to take them off there.
There he comes.
Put your shirt on.
Put your clothes on, Joe. That's what I call a sexy man.
Hey, put your clothes on, brother.
Hey. Give me trouble, why don't you?
When I said I like sailors, he comes waltzing in without his shirt on.
And this thing shouldn't even be up. It just pops up on its own.
Look, one of these days you're going to get it. One day you're going to get it. You got no clothes on.
Thank God, yeah, because I do like the street because it can be embarrassing. It's, I like to run through the house butt nude, man. It could be dangerous.
To
be honest with you,
I want to do a rewind. I'm going to have to do a rewind on that. Take some steel shots.
Oh God, that'll just scare you. That's all that'll do.
I think I'm going to do a screenshot instead of make a Christmas card.
Yeah, they are. I'm not to go edit this poor archive, man. Be like, look, archive, you're getting edited. No, it's like, no, please don't edit me, please.
Oh
no.
gosh,
I know, but I have once or twice scared myself pretty good. running around, coming here. I'll hear something. I'm like running in. And usually, I don't know why, because the cameras are supposed to be on stop. It's supposed to be off.
That was great. I'm going to go look at that again.
Little dog
dude,
going at it.
I know, what the hell? I apologize, guys.
That's okay. I'm going to go rewind. I'm rewinding, baby.
You know what, Joe? Honest to God, when you were away, I think you have a ghost in your screen here because something keeps flashing in and out.
Well, you know what? You know what? It's weird, but are we still on air? Shit. It's weird because lately there has been something weird going on. I was talking with Michelle DeRoche about this because first off, it started off. Where's my camera at? See this clock? Where's it at? Y'all might be able to see it over there. Yeah, see, there's a skull. See it sitting on top of those books. So there it is right there. Yeah, you can see it. It's a little clock, humidity thing and temperature thing, right? So I come home one day. It's on the floor. Well, it's not on the floor. It's actually leaning against the books down below it. But the clock is out. Now, the only way you can take the clock out is to actually physically take the back off. You got to unscrew it. So it was out. It was on the floor with the screws in it. I was like, what? So then I walk up front, and my wife's got a big giant ivy up there, right? She likes to grow because we have windows all over the front of our house. So it's completely turned around. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then I walk by my son's room where, it's X room. It's a guest room now. And the door just, like right out of some horror movie, just opened up. I didn't hear the handle turn up, and then I came by later on, I had shut it, and it was open again. I was like, what the heck? And it worked fine. So I'm not, somebody said, well, it's hard to think it's ghosties because I live on top of a pillar of salt.
Yeah, really.
Hey, Danny, what's on for next week?
We have the Bell Witch of Tennessee.